How did you get on Life? How'd that come about?
Well, from Shut, you know, I was skating and SMA was coming around. That was at Nodis and Thiebaud and, you know, Skip Edblum's company. I was talking to Nodis a little bit here and there.
Oh, yeah?
And he came through Maryland and I talked to him and stuff and was so-so and I kind of slipped a note like I was interested.
Sick.
Yeah. You know, behind the guy's back, and I was kind of like, shit, I don't know how this is going to go because I was becoming more and more friends with Bruno and Rodney, and they were kind of relying on me as I was getting a little older and stronger with my skill.
You kind of got the word to Nodis that you might be interested in, like, riding for him?
Yeah, and so I talked to him, and we went out there to this 88 contest in Del Mar, and Trinowski was there, and Trinowski was like, hey, Sean, I actually met him on the Midwest tour, what I did with Shut Skates and H Street, where I met Ron Allen and Matt Hensley, Life's a Beach, and Alva tour.
Really?
Which was a Cal Skates gig put up by Jimmy George.
Those were all the sponsors?
Who ran the Cal Skates, which one was before, yeah.
H
that was
Street,
on there.
Shut,
Life's a Beach.
Life's a Beach.
And Alva.
And Alva.
Did a tour. And there was a couple guys. I met Bill Danforth.
That's huge.
There. I met Rob Dyrdek there.
Oh, out in Ohio?
Mark Heinzman. Yeah.
Out in Dayton?
Dayton, yeah.
Sick.
That's where Cal Skates was or is based at. And my son's wife there. I mean, my son's mother, yeah. So
you met Julie there?
Yeah, on that tour.
Crazy.
Which was chaos, but it was a little, you know, young love thing, which turned out well, you know. I got to meet Mike there, and we skated a lot, and he was, you know, into it, and he's like, we're going to make a tour video, which never came out.
Right.
You know, so I had a lot of good footage from there. So I believe, not to be mildly spoken or too confident, he just goes, he took a liking to me.
Yeah,
you know, but
sure.
He was dealing with these guys from Shut, so he said, hey, that's his practice. So when I went through that 88 contest in Del Mar, I had already talked to Nodis, and I'm like, yeah, I want to get on. Right. He's like, you're coming out here, so you're going to stay with me for a couple of weeks. And this is kind of behind the news, you know, kind of dirty, gooder stuff, but it's kind of how life goes in the fast lane.
That's how it goes, man, because ultimately you're looking out for yourself no matter what, and it's like, you know, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, kind of pinkish or scary or mafia style, but it kind of went on, you know. And so I got there, and, you know, Bruno's like, what's your gig with hanging out with Nodis? Well, he's been flooring me shoes. And he's like, well...
the first etnies, huh?
Yeah. I had already been getting them as well. Pardon me for not bringing up that as first. So it's like, make sure they're just the shoes and not the boards, you know? And I'm like,
You're like,
I'm going to go chill with these guys. And then they're like, hey, man, we're going up to Nodis's house in Santa Monica. Let's go. And I was supposed to stay out and take some pictures and film for a couple weeks, you know. I was there for 2 weeks. My girlfriend at the time was Julie, Julian's mother, my son's mother. She's calling me furious. Get home or I'm leaving you. I'm pregnant. I found out. And I'm all, what are you doing?
Oh, man.
I just got this big situation going, you know. I'm going to kick it here in Santa Monica with Nodis and Tommy Guerrero. And what are you thinking? She's like, get home or I'm cutting the relationship. And I'm all,
crazy,
so I'm going,
man. You're like this.
I'm
like,
going, Nodis,
tug.
I got to get back to D.C. And he's like, dude, you just got out here. He's like, no problem. I'll send you back. But he's like, this is going to be a problem in your career if you just let this situation call you out. You have to put your foot down sometimes, you know. He didn't say that, but I learned that afterward because I had a big break there. I could have got a lot of skating and learning from those guys in that 2 week, you know. I was just like, shit, I could have gotten so much straightened out in that 2 weeks, but I had to go and be the sensitive man, you know, family man, and do that too. I learned a lot on that educationally too. That helped a lot, you know, because sometimes you have to take care of that side before you develop that professional side, I guess.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
we'll go with that.
It's a learning experience, you know.
So I stay on, and we go through it. SMA takes care of me. You know, they're paying me a couple $100 a month with Julian and Julian Stranger, and we do a gig up in Nova Scotia. You know,
Canada, yeah.
And then too, at '88, Mike welcomed me out to see footage before we went up to Santa Monica. So he was saying, "Hey, come by and check this out, man."
So you were in contact. You were in contact with MT.
Not on the phone, but just visual. He's like, "Don't talk to no one else before you leave." So he probably already knew I was doing these phone calls through the coast. He's like, "If you go anywhere, talk to me first." And I was like, "Oh." He's like, "Oh, he's running with those guys," and he's more business associated. So he's like, he's running with them big wolves of skating. They run everything on that, but they don't really run the business side. So Mike's like, "You're going to make a decision that might not be the best decision because they're not paying you well." You know, so he was like, if you want to get paid and you want to do it well, which we all do because we want to make a living and we want to do it comfortably, but I was still caught up in that. The star, skating for the star is the first thing, and it's still a part of me, you know.
Totally.
That's what being a skateboarder and a fan of the skateboarding industry is. Yeah.
Like you were kind of on SMA, and then all of a sudden you were like, "Well, wait a minute, you know, I need to listen to this dude, to Mike Tarnowski."
We went up here to Nova Scotia, and Julian got a hit like, "Hey man, Nardis is doing this stuff, man. I want to call him. I heard he's on this gig with Rocco, and he's going to start a new company." And I'm all, "Huh? Where did you hear this from?" And he's like, "I don't know. I'm going to call him. Get on the other phone." And we're up in Canada, you know, with this